Welcome back to...
Good seeing you again.
Yeah, it's a thrill seeing you. You want to...
Always a pleasure.
Welcome back to the Gentleman's Dojo.
Oh, yeah. Do this.
To my left, from Detroit, Michigan, Motor City, Motown. The city where it's kind of defunct, and you embody that.
Listen, I would like to think I'm bringing some life back into the city. I think people from my high school look at what kind of career I've had and a little envious.
Okay. To my left, Gary Cannon, comedian. Not really. You're a warm-up comedian, right?
Warm-up comedian? Yeah.
You wouldn't call yourself a comedian, would you?
I got to tell you, last week we had on, before I introduce you, but last week we had Frank Caliendo on. He was talking about trying to do impressions, all this other great stuff. And he told me whenever he walks into a room when he's doing stand-up and there's not a lot of people there, he feels that's his impression of you. To my right, from Pittsburgh, PA.
That's so
No, it's
Jesus, you're
funny.
The worst, dude.
To my right, from Pittsburgh, PA, Steve Byrne, I guess.
Why do you say it like that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I thought my joke was better than you're giving it credit for.
I gave you an awesome introduction.
Okay, back it up, edit. What's the time code? Great. To my right, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, getting ready to record his 4th hour special, Lincoln Hall, Chicago, 2 shows, Steeper.
That was actually a good introduction.
Yeah, thank you. I know when you're getting pissed when we're doing stand-up, and we were at the La Jolla Comedy Store a couple weeks ago, and I brought up Gareth Reynolds saying, you may recognize this guy from Different Strokes. He played the guy that violated Dudley.
That molested Dudley.
That molested Dudley.
Yeah.
At the bike
shop.
And then
dude.
I left the microphone and just walked out, and Gareth was right behind me. Yeah.
And then Gareth goes up. He's like, I never molested anybody.
Yeah.
And, that's always a good hold.
I wanted to mention this when we had Frank on the show and just didn't get a chance to. When we were in La Jolla, right, we were all staying at this condo that the Comedy Store has right by the beach, which is great. So it was me, you, Gareth was staying there as well, who was working with us on the road, and a buddy of ours, Jason Dallas, who came down to take some video of the show. And so Gareth goes out to hang out with some friends during the day, and it's me, you, and Jason that are sitting in the condo mid-afternoon on a Saturday watching some football. I'm laying there, and you say, hey, get up, we're going to go outside on the beach and play football. Yeah. I say, I have absolutely no interest. I'm going to lay here, watch the football game. And you say, very nicely, get up, fat ass. That's what you told me. You say, get up, fat ass.
You need it.
You need exercise. And I said, who the F are you? I'm going to lay here. You're not my mom. I'm going to lay here. So then you shut the TV off, right? And you say, let's move it. So then I'm being a team player. I go outside, right? Gareth joins us. It becomes 2-on-2 football. Me and you at first, right? You're getting angry because I'm just making fun of everything and goofing around, not being serious. And you're taking it very seriously like it's the Super Bowl. You're being a big baby.
No, that's not true.
You're
Get
not being
the
a big
fuck
baby.
out of here. No.
So we end up, we're getting our asses kicked. I then switch teams. It's me and Gareth versus you and Jason.
Yeah.
And say this, we smoked you guys.
Smoked would be...
Smoked you guys.
I don't think so.
And there was a period where it was the Marsha Brady episode where you threw a football right in my
face.
face.
I tagged you right in the face.
Right in my face.
Well, I was trying to hit you in the back, and you turned around at the wrong time, and you looked right into it.
Well, you're still trying to hit me. I mean, it doesn't matter where you were trying to throw it.
No, I didn't try. I hit you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. I did enjoy it. Because there was that moment where you do something on accident, and you hit somebody, and you go, oh, shit, I hope they're... But you can't stop laughing.
Right.
And I couldn't stop laughing.
And
but I did... How many times did I ask you, are you okay?
You did ask me if I was okay, and all I said to you, I said, I don't want an apology. All I want you to admit is that you don't sell tickets anymore.
Shut the fuck
For
up.
me, that was more rewarding than any type of apology. I was like, just please admit you don't sell any tickets. And the fact that you didn't say it, it still meant the world to me that I know inside that you don't. Yeah, which was great.
It was packed the whole weekend.
That one night I was counting the empty chairs. The back, I was like 1, 2, 3.
Oh, Friday late show.
Friday first show, I think it was.
First show. Go fuck yourself, Gary.
Yeah, there were a lot of empty seats.
Oh, God.
But we had a good time. We had a good time.
Today, I'm very excited. We have a very special guest calling in.
Yes.
And just let us know when he calls in. He is co-creator of Chappelle's Show.
Yeah. Great
stand-up comedian. And he's also got a wonderful podcast on this network on all things comedy called The Champs. I'm so excited about Neal Brennan.
Yeah.
Neal Brennan is a guy that I knew from back in the day. He and I used to do like late night spots at the Boston Comedy Club, which doesn't exist anymore. But
it's like your career. It's great, by the way, with Neal, too, because, I mean, I remember you told me a couple weeks ago, you're like, hey, Neal's going to be calling in today. I remember you told me that at the beginning of January. I was like, oh, that's awesome that you booked him. So I'm excited for that. So I think he's on the phone right now. Neal, how are you? Hello.
Brennan,
Steven.
how are you? Good to have you, bud.
I'm good.
You're here with myself and Gary Cannon.
How are you, bud?
I'm good. I don't think I know Gary Cannon, do I?
No, you don't, and neither does the industry. Gary actually did the audience warm-up for Sullivan and Son. He did it for Kilborn, for Ferguson, for he does it for Conan right now.
It sounds like he is the kiss of death. If I'm not mistaken.
Whoa.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I did a show that Neal was on. This is where you and I met Neal. It was a little show that we taped over at CBS on the Price is Right stage called Short Comms.
Of course.
Remember that?
Of course.
What the fuck is short comms?
Gary. Another kiss of death by Gary Cannon.
Well, maybe look in your backyard. What was
look in my direction. Gary, I didn't hear what you said.
I sneezed.
Of technology, but
it was great.
I will say that I would contend that my short comm was the best.
Well, Steve wants to know what short comm was. I mean, I don't
what
really...
was short comm?
Short comm was a thing that Fox tried to do a few years ago where they had people do short sitcoms, like 15-minute sitcoms or 12-minute sitcoms. And and they had a bunch of them in a row. The idea of a short comm was good, but they had literally 4 of them in a row. So it was like old-fashioned, like moving sets, like a live TV broadcast. It was incredibly weird.
Neal,
I liked my show, and I thought I was good as a sitcom actor.
Yeah,
there,
Dov Davidoff did one, Ali Wong, Michael Costa.
Yeah.
It was hosted by Craig Robinson. And I remember, Neal, they didn't even have set changes. But they basically just switched the projection on the screen, like behind the wherever it was that you were.
Yeah,
so it was like
there was a giant LED screens, and they would like put a coffee shop set on there, and then you'd sit in chairs and do the scene. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, it was interesting though.
Yeah. Is that one of the now? Were you writing and creating your own short comm?
Writing, creating, and starring in my own short comm. And yes, the word starring is correct, Stephen, because I was a star.
Now, what is it you're working on now, Neal?
Where what?
What are you working on now, currently? Because you always have something in the pipeline.
I always got something in the hopper. In the last month, I believe I've directed 12 commercials.
Jesus.
That have yet to start airing, but
you just
one
did...
of them, Steven's going to be on the Super Bowl.
Oh, nice. Well, is that part of the Nike campaign that you had directed? Because you're...
No, not Nike.
Okay.
Not Nike.
Well,
different,
a lot of
company.
A lot of people know you or associate you or have heard your name being co-creator of Chappelle's Show. Prior to you calling in, I was discussing with Gary that I've always known you as a stand-up comic, but you had been working on Chappelle's Show prior to being a comic. When did you decide to make the leap into stand-up?
The leap? I don't know if I've decided to make the leap yet. I'm still waiting for the industry to help me make the leap. I guess I did it a little bit during the show, and then afterward I started really in earnest in 2007. Which is late. Like, you shouldn't start in your 30s. That's what I try to tell the kids. Don't start anything in your 30s.
Gary.
What I realized is most of the people who make it in comedy and showbiz make it in their 20s. And B, what you do in your 20s really dictates the rest of your life. So yeah. Thankfully, I also, in my 20s, I guess I didn't direct stuff I did, yeah. Actually, the first thing I ever directed was on my 30th birthday. The first thing I ever, officially directed. So, but I spent my 20s, I wrote Half Baked with Dave, and I wrote movies and stuff like that. So, I was in showbiz.
How tough is it to make I don't know if you call it the break, but your own name for yourself after Chappelle's Show, Dave and you kind of go your separate ways and you start working. How difficult was that for you, or how gratifying was it for you to break that association and just come out from under that umbrella and go, no, there's another guy here too as well?
I still think it's ongoing. I don't think it's like done. I don't think we're really like, if I walk down the street with Dave, no one notices me. If I walk down the street by myself, a couple people will notice me. So, I think it's ongoing. I think I have to I have to do something significant enough that people go like, oh, which I'm working on that. Like the short com, if that had happened, that might have been it. Or I have a show now, a pilot at Amazon. Hopefully that'll go.
Right.
I'm doing a one-man show in New York starting February 16th called Three Mics, but hopefully that'll be popular. It's like you just have to keep. I mean, I remember Dave, before he made it, used to say, like, I just feel like I'm chipping away at a big rock.
Right.
And then hopefully, or it's like trying to break out of Shawshank, and you just dig and dig and dig and dig and dig, and then at some point, like there's nothing behind the wall, and you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna make it. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it never happens, Steve. You never know.
Well, I don't want to spend too much time talking about the past. I do want to ask you this though. What was the most proud sketch you did on Chappelle's Show? What is your baby that you look back on now even and say that? I mean, that's the shit.
There's a bunch of them actually. Obviously the popular ones, Rick James and the Blind White Supremacists, are really good, and there's sort of more obscure ones. There's one where Dave shows how his family has always been sort of again sort of contrarian,
right?
And it's like a bunch of flashbacks to like different times, like him in the 90s, him in the 70s, him in the 50s, and then basically tracing it back to slavery.
Right.
And that's a good one. There was another one where we showed why Dave could never be. He'd be bad on a jury because he sees the shadow of doubt is so huge for black people just because of how shady the justice system has been forever. So that's another one. So he testifies like on behalf of OJ, on behalf of Michael Jackson, on behalf of all these people.
Right. And then I got to ask you, why is that? This is the last question I'll ask you about Chappelle's Show. Why does that show still resonate? Because you can still turn on the TV and see repeats of that show. I put out a tweet like recently where it was like Thursday at 8 o'clock and they were showing Chappelle's Show, and I'm like, this show still kills it that they're airing it Thursday at 8 o'clock on cable. I mean, why is that show just transcended and is still relevant even after all these years? It's been like 10 years.
Well, thankfully, the justice system hasn't improved for black people. That's been great for the show. For one, I'm kind of kidding and I'm kind of not.
No, you're absolutely correct. Yeah.
So that's always kind of like, because it's all the same issues and it's more or less the same people. You know what I mean? Like, it's more or less the same. And, it's the sketches are well written, they're well shot, and Dave's a giant star. Like, it's fun to watch him. It's like he will never get tired of watching Dave do stuff, and he hasn't done anything else. So it's sort of it's like the only artifact left,
right?
Of his sort of showbiz.
Yeah. I got to ask you. So the show ends, and everybody knows the story and all that stuff, and then it seemed to me like you delved deeper into stand-up, and then I think maybe this is 2 years ago, you did a Comedy Central hour special called Women and Black Dudes. And yes. I personally, just seeing you at the Comedy Store work on it, watching you, knowing you all these years, I personally would put that in my top 10 of all time. And I'm not saying that because you're my friend. I'm not saying that because we've known each other for a long. I truly believe that. How was the experience of going from Chappelle's Show to your own stand-up special? What were the thoughts going through your head prior to and then even during it?
Prior to, prior to, you just try to get the show right. And then during, I guess during it was like just trying to get it, just trying to perform stuff well. Cause I know how to write jokes. That's like I'm not like, no, that's no problem. Jokes are easy. They're not easy, but they're not. But like when it comes to performing, that's more of a challenge. So just trying to be a good performer.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have to like remind myself to smile on stage. I'm like if a robot did stand up, where it's like smile, robot.
Right.
And so there's that. And then I remember my girlfriend at the time, when I got off stage, this was a testament to why the relationship wasn't going to work. When I got off stage of my special, she said, "Man, those people loved you. Not you were great.
Jesus Christ!
Just that you tricked those people."
Right.
Those people.
So yeah, that was pretty great. But yeah, so I appreciate you saying that. I think it's very good. It doesn't. It's not in like the it doesn't. People don't really. It's not like a Benone. What a Benone, is that a thing? Benone. It's not a recognized top 20 by anybody else, but I happen to think it's really good.
I think it's great. And look, if you get a chance, go to iTunes, download it. You can rent it. It is absolutely, I think, just on par with any of the great writer comics that are out there that aren't just relying on physicality or whatever. But you definitely have a very clear perception of the world and a strong opinion. Obviously that's the backbone of any comedian, but it's something I've always appreciated about you and love watching you grow. Are you
people
working?
Said nice stuff like Bigley said it reminded him of Patrice, which is really nice.
And now, are you working on a new one currently, or is that the basis of
the
Three Mics?
Thing is the Three Mics thing is the show I'm doing. It's basically like because people are so first of all, there's so many hours now.
Right.
Everyone's got an hour, and so I mean, there's a guy named Steve Byrne who I think's done 4 of them, and
still can't sell tickets.
Gary,
I'm talking to Neal.
And so I'm just trying to figure out a way to because I was like, I thought that hour was good, and no one seemed to care. And so I'm going to do another hour. This hour is it's the show's called Three Mics because I put 3 mics on stage.
Mm-hmm.
One is for stand up. One is for one-liners that I've never been able to put anywhere in my act because they're just one-liners and they don't relate to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the middle mic is for like true personal emotional stories.
Right.
That aren't necessarily funny. They're funny-ish, but they're not like stand-up funny. So I'm doing that in New York starting February 16th, and then I'm going to do it on some network to be negotiated. We're negotiating now.
How difficult is
network
it to understand the Jenga or to put the puzzle pieces in correctly? Because when you hear of it, there's 3 different outlets for comedy. When do you know to parlay this heavy-handed, perhaps deeply personal story, and then jump to that one-liner, or then go to that stand-up bit? Like, how long did the process take for you?
I only vary it. I only switch mics 3 times. Like, meaning, like not 3 times total, but like I do basically 10 minutes on the first 2 mics, and the one-liner mic's probably like 3 minutes.
Right.
So it's like 10-10-3, 10-10. 3, 10-10, and the show's over.
Oh, wow.
10-10, and then like one-liner. Show's over. So I guess it's like figuring out. It's basically like the anecdotes in the middle are like there's an arc to that,
mm-hmm.
which is just talking about shit that I've dealt with, like depression and shit like that, and then stuff with my father, and then the stand-up is just sort of like, yeah, that's good enough.
Right,
like, that's enough. That's enough good jokes for that period.
Well,
and then the one-liners are just literally, I just pick them at random.
Now, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I cannot wait to see it. Again, you're one of my favorites, and I'm not saying that again because we're friends, but I truly mean that. I got to ask you this. Maybe people know this, maybe people don't, but you actually directed a feature film called The Goods, the Don Reddy story, starring Jeremy Piven.
I did.
What were the preconceptions going into it, thinking this is going to be this kind of comedy, and then how did the aftermath of the film? What came about for you in terms of your experience in terms of directing a feature?
Was pretty much any opportunity I had before dried up, which was very exciting. It basically it was, the preconceptions were exactly what I thought, which is making a movie, a Hollywood studio movie,
Mm-hmm.
like an $8 million movie or whatever, it's a very big bet. You're betting, it's an all-in bet. You can't really make small bets when you're making movies. It's like you will get all the credit, all the blame, whichever. And in my case, it was blame.
Right.
Because the forensic, maybe it was Jeremy's fault, maybe it was the script's fault, maybe it was my fault. Who knows? But we all got blamed. And it's kind of just the way I knew that going in, and it turned out I was exactly right. You have to get lucky in a lot of ways. Like, you have to get culturally lucky. You have to get, the movie has to be about something that people care about. It has to be about, it has to have all the right people in it. It has to have a good trailer. I think the biggest problem was people didn't really know what it was about, and people don't really care about used car salespeople. I wanted to do it because Will Ferrell and Adam McKay produced it, and I love those guys.
Right.
Like, they're my favorite, they're my favorite, probably comedy writer star team.
Mm-hmm.
McKay just directed The Big Short, so he's nominated for 3 Oscars. Like, he's a brilliant guy. So I wanted to work with those guys, and but whatever, the movie just didn't take for whatever reason, and I've not been allowed back.
Would you? I don't want to come off as brash, but professionally speaking, would that have been the biggest hit or failure on your resume?
The biggest hit? No, the biggest hit's going to be Chappelle Show.
Oh no, I meant hit to the resume in terms of that, not like, we all know Chappelle.
The biggest hit? Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not even being like, I don't think you're being like, oh, Steven, you're being brash. Like, I know exactly what it is. I don't even I don't shrink from it. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I made a movie people didn't see, and you're not allowed to do that. You're literally not allowed to do that and make movies. They will stop letting you make movies.
What was the biggest lesson, I guess, in the aftermath of it that you took away from the failure of the film?
I guess that just don't make a movie unless you really, really give a shit about it. Don't do it because of one element. Don't do it because of another. Just do it because you really, really like it, and you really, really, you feel like it'll work, and you don't have to squint to see it. And also, just having some say in how it's made, how it's marketed, how it's cast, all that stuff. Like, not like you need absolute say, but I guess I wish I'd had more.
Right.
So yeah, but I don't see it as like a big. It just doesn't. It's so absurd,
right?
That I don't really even see it at like a. It doesn't bother me, if that makes sense.
Of course, yeah. I got to ask you, because you're so known of collaborating with Chappelle, and just in being terms of being friends with you, you've worked with everybody though in the comedy world. Like, you've literally worked with so many people. Is there somebody still on the radar that you would love to sit down and collaborate with that you have not yet?
Eddie Murphy, I still want to really work with. He pitched a sketch one time that we used. But I'd like to, I mean, he's a guy that, like, he has a movie that is being written right now that I'm really trying to get involved in. Either as a rewrite or director or whatever, like, he's just like, he's amazing. And a really good dude, and always very nice to me when I see him.
I got to ask you this. When Chappelle's show is just skyrocketing, and this is a classic Gary Cannon question, but what is the one thing, like, were you finally like, I'm going to treat myself, it's time to spoil myself?
Yeah.
What was the one thing that you got for yourself where you you finally had some money in the bank?
This is a classic Gary Cannon question.
I always ask it.
Textbook, classic, old-fashioned Gary.
Vintage Cannon.
What did I guess the thing I bought was an apartment.
That's
what I've
pretty
been
awesome. But this is in New York City, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Do you still own it?
Yeah. No, I ended up losing money on it, and I'll tell you why. Let this be another caution to the kids. When you buy a penthouse apartment in New York, a lot of them leak because buildings aren't supposed to have flat roofs. So it was flat roof, and it leaked, and I actually lost money on the resale because I couldn't. The ceiling was so jacked up.
Well, Gary rents, so he's not going to take that to heart.
That's why I never buy.
Right.
When Steve got his first check at Sullivan
been,
& Son, he went to the 99-cent store and splurged.
Okay. Classic Cannon.
Do you think that's the biggest comedy embarrassment at the Comedy Store, Neal, the Sullivan & Son show? People don't want to talk about it, but I'm willing to bring it out. Like, nobody wanted to be part of that show, did they?
Wanted? What do you mean wanted to be a part of it?
Like if Steve came into the Comedy Store like one night and you knew he was working on the show, like people wouldn't make eye contact with him because people thought that he might ask them to be a guest star. Like just nobody wanted that on
you don't
their
have
IMDb
to.
page.
No, this is Gary. This is just Gary being Gary. Sorry,
Sorry.
Neal. He's never heard of you, and that's
Dude,
exactly why.
I guess my question would be, why keep him on the show? Why keep him on the podcast?
Well,
I
he goes
question
in for
myself
abuse.
all the time. Yeah.
carrying this thing.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. Neal, I cannot thank you enough.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing your Super Bowl commercial. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I've been wanting to have you on for quite some time, and I'm glad it worked out. And
Yeah, if people live in New York, have them go see the Three Mics, which will be at the Bleecker Street Theater.
What is the date?
Starting February 16th.
February 16th, Three Mics, Neal Brennan. And is there a website that they can go to, or do you know that? Or
No, there is not one yet, Stephen.
Okay. Well, be on the lookout for it. One of my favorite comics. And, Neal, I cannot thank you enough for spending the time with us. And, look, we're on All Things Comedy. Listen to Neal's podcast, The Champs. It's awesome.
God bless.
Thanks again, buddy. I really appreciate it, pal.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Neal.
That was Neal Brennan.
You should
Love
do
him.
a show called No Mics. One mic for each audience member. Anyway, I'm so glad that Neal remembered because we booked him at the very beginning of January. And I'm so glad that he remembered this date and remembered to call in. Because sometimes comics get aloof and they forget.
What is
check out Steve's show?
what are we giving away?
No Mics. Well, hold on, Steve. Relax. Jesus Christ. We have a sponsor this week, which I'm
By the way, you were great in that interview. I mean, the way you jumped in and asked some real questions. And, I mean, this guy has done it all in terms of comedy. Been part of the zeitgeist of the country when Chappelle's show was on, and you had nothing to ask. You are an absolute moron.
By the way, Parachute Online is a betting brand based here in Venice Beach, California. And I will tell you something, Steve. You, at one point, had comfortable sheets, and I remember them at one point that weekend that you were in Richmond, Virginia on the road. Very, very comfortable sheets. And just know this, Steven, as Neal would call you, great sleep starts with your sheets, and Parachute has created an online website with great bedding essentials from sheets to comforters to give you the superior sleep that you need because that's very, very important. Parachute's website is very straightforward. You can get through it very, very quickly. They offer free shipping, free returns, and a 30-day, 30-night risk-free guarantee. So if you don't like them, you can return them. Now, here's the great thing, Steve. You're not going to believe this.
I can't wait.
Yeah, listen. If you shop online and go to parachutehome.com/dojo, mentioning our website, mentioning our dojo, you will get $25 off your very first order. Isn't that great?
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, people don't know this. Like, a lot of people sleep without a top sheet, and that's not comfortable. Yeah. So I'm just telling you, people, that they need to go to the Parachute website. It's great.
Could you say the website one more time?
Parachutehome.com.
I'm in.
Parachutehome.com.
I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to surprise my wife with some new sheets.
Are you really?
I swear to God, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think when you do like those little things like that.
Sure, it's a big deal.
like to a woman that's like, you got new sheets, and I would lay them out and like, tuck it under the mattress.
So you do a good job at that.
I do a good job with it because right now I just like throw it on like that parachute thing in 5th grade in the gym class.
Yeah. I try to tuck underneath.
Yeah. But yeah.
Would you use this website, parachutehome.com?
I'm going to.
Yeah, me too.
I'll do it.
Well, /dojo.
/dojo.
Yeah. If you use /champs, that's 30% off.
Okay.
Steven, I got to tell you, I mean, that Neal interview was great. I love that guy, and we will obviously do some heavy editing this show. But everything was good. I liked it. And obviously they can see you. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We appreciate it.
Gary, my God.
Oh, sorry. I'm just getting a little feisty.
Women and Black Dudes. Honestly, do yourself a favor. Rent Women and Black Dudes. I love the album. Neal is one of my favorites. I think you'll enjoy him, too. At Canon Comedy, at Steve Byrne Live, and we are off. Thanks so much for listening to The Dojo. So true, funny how it seems.